For this lesson, we are going to be solving one-step multiplication equations. Notice I have that it is for positive and negative numbers. So I want you to notice the problems 1 through 3 are positive numbers only. That means you have not learned about integers yet. If you know about integers, problems 4 through 6 do have positive and negative numbers, and so you will be using your integer skills. Okay, well, we should know by now that when we're solving a one-step equation, our goal is to get the variable by itself. So for number 1, we have 7x equals 77. I like to draw a little line here so you remember whatever you do to one side of the equation, you must do to the other. So in order to get the x alone, I'm going to divide both sides by 7. So we know that x is equal to 11. And when you substitute in that number into the equation, it does work. 7 times 11 is equal to 77. All right, so for number 2, we have 36 equals 6m. Well, I see that I have a 6 right beside my m. We know that means multiplication. The inverse operation of multiplication is division, and we show division by the fraction bar. So we can go ahead and write, and this reminds me that, see, it's a division symbol. Divide both sides by 6. So we do get that 6 is equal to m. And again, substituting it into the equation, we get a true statement. So for the next problem, it's 2 1/10 divided by 0 7/10. So you're going to need to, again, the inverse operation of multiplication is division, and we're going to divide both sides by what's next to that variable. And that was 0.7 or 7/10. So when I'm working this problem, now you need to remember your division skills. Our numerator is always going to be in the division box. It's our divisor, our dividend, excuse me. The denominator is your divisor. It's what goes outside of your division box. In order to divide decimals, you should remember you have to move your decimal point over 1. And so whatever you do to the divisor, you have to do to the dividend, 2 1/10. So here is my new decimal point. And when I'm going ahead and I am working this problem, 7 goes into 21 3 times. And notice where my decimal point is. So I know that C is equal to 3. And there we go. And I started with making a little wall for number 1, separating it. So I remember that on each side of my equation, I must do the exact same operation. And for multiplication, the inverse operation is division. Okay, well, let's look at the next ones that have positive and negative numbers. It's negative 15y equals 15. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do my little separation. I think I'm going to do it for all of them so I don't forget. Because as I'm working the problem, sometimes I forget to write it. All right, so now I see y is being multiplied by negative 15. So I'm going to divide both sides, and that's what that fraction bar means, division, by 15. So we get y is equal to and it's not just a 15. Notice it is a negative 15. So we have a positive number, we have a negative number. So our answer is actually negative 1. For the next problem, oh wow, I see I have a fraction now. So I'm just going to set it up, and then we're going to have to do some work on the side like we did for the division problem. So if I have negative 1 2/3 is equal to 9x, I know whatever's near my variable I must divide by. So I'm going to divide both sides by 9. So what you have in front of you actually is what we call a complex fraction. So we're going to write it just like we would write it to actually do a regular fraction division problem. So I'm going to do negative 1 2/3 divided by, because that's the order, a 9. Okay, well, we know with fractions we are going to, we're going to have to change this, but we're going to keep, change, and then we are going to have to flip it. But first, I must have a fraction in front of my face. So negative 1 2/3 is negative 5/3. I'm going to just keep everything so I see that I have everything ready to go. So this is going to be a keep, a change the sign, and write the reciprocal of 9/1. So I'm going to do my work over here. So I get a negative 5/3 times, again, you always flip, you write the reciprocal of the number after the division sign, a 1/9. And when I multiply straight across, I get negative 5 times 1 is a negative 5 over 3 times 9 is 27. And that may sound like a weird answer, but that actually is our correct answer. X is equal to a negative 5/27. There it is. A lot of work when you have fractions given to you. Okay, well, for the next one, notice we have a negative 125 is equal to a negative 25n. Whatever's next to the variable, this is multiplication. The inverse is division. I'm dividing by negative 25. So now we've got to remember our integer rules. When we are dividing two negatives, that means our answer is going to be positive. So we get a 5 is equal to an n here. So our answer for n actually is a positive 5. If this video was helpful to you today, please add a like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe for more Math with Marcia. See you again soon.